We all get stressed at work and at home. While a little stress is okay, too much can cause serious health risks. There are many ways to reduce stress, but our next guest suggests that journaling could be the answer. Joining me is Sarah Lynn Mark, endocrinologist and president of SolaMed Solutions, to help us de-stress. Sarah Lynn, thanks for being here.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
So why is it so important to find a way to get the stress out of your life?
Well, we all have stress, and stress actually is beneficial to our lives. We need a little bit to keep us on our toes, to keep our reflexes heightened, our senses heightened. But when it becomes chronic or very severe, it then begins to have toxic impact on the body.
And it can lead to a host of health problems. The first one is cardiovascular. Yes. How so?
Our hearts are designed to get blood to the rest of our body. When we're stressed, the adrenaline or cortisol increases in our body to increase blood flow to our brain, to our extremities. A lot of blood flow is good, but sometimes too much of it can make our vessels very stiff, and that's beginning the development of cardiovascular disease.
And how about psychologically? I think we see this a lot, especially with athletes.
Yes.
How does it affect them?
Well, we know there's neurocognitive changes. First of all, when you're stressed, you tend not to sleep very well, so your memory can become impaired. We also know the brain rewires in regard to stress. We see that with post-traumatic stress disorder, that the brain can actually change its structure. We see in women that they maybe become more depressed, more anxious. Men also tend to feel that, but then if they do commit suicide, they tend to be more successful when they do that.
It's interesting because stress really affects women and men so differently, doesn't it?
It really does. And we're really beginning to understand the differences on how men and women react to stress. There's a hormone produced in the brain called corticotropin releasing factor, CRF, and we find that women are actually more sensitive to that hormone. Estrogen levels can increase that, and testosterone, the male hormone, may decrease it.
Well, there is one way that you have gone about to relieve some of the stress in your life, and that is journaling, which you feel is a very productive way. What inspired you to start?
Well, I noticed as I was dealing with very stressful situations such as family illnesses, I would send out emails and blogs to friends and family across the country, and I found as I was writing, it was actually very cathartic. In the 1900s, we used to write letters. In the 20th century, we would begin writing journals, and I think in the 21st century, we're using our electronic gadgets, our smartphones, our computers, to begin sharing our feelings and emotions with friends and family.
So a lot of us are probably already journaling. We don't even realize it.
Absolutely. It's the modern version of sharing information and releasing, hopefully, some of the emotions connected to what you're experiencing.
Well, now, some of your suggestions to help you get started, if you haven't journaled in the past, is to be conscious of your world. What does that mean?
I think every day we get so caught up in many small things that we don't notice the little things that actually make us smile. It could be a beautiful flower. It could be a smile that someone gives you. Becoming aware of that, I think, is a very, very important first step.
And then you also really need to be in tune with your emotions.
Often we shut our emotions off so that we can deal with what we have to, and I think becoming aware of what your emotions are when you see something that makes you smile is worth to note. So, for example, if you ate a wonderful piece of chocolate cake and it made you happy, remember that.
Okay, so then you basically start writing. What's your primary goal in the beginning?
Well, I think starting small is very helpful. I love the world of Twitter where you use about 140 characters to share your feelings and thoughts. So keep it small, write a few bullets each day of little things you notice that make you happy, and notice your emotions with it. And as you begin doing that, I think you become more conscious of the world around you.
Well, how in-depth do you need to be? Because I can just hear people now, I don't have time to be journaling, I'm too busy.
We all have so many things to do. It's hard to keep track of all of it. I think just a little bit each day, maybe at nighttime when it's very quiet for you, or maybe early in the morning as you get up and you begin your day. It should not be a stressful situation for you. It should be a tool that you can use to begin releasing some of that stress.
And I've gone back to some of my older journals in college when, you used to have a book, actually, the old-fashioned way, and I've read some of them, and it can be very powerful. You suggest going back and rereading your journals. How does it help?
I do. I think as you become more comfortable with writing your feelings and emotions and thoughts down, it's often worthwhile to go back and revisit. We learn from our past, and as you see what you've done, it may help you guide you down the path to doing more productive things in your life.
Now, I know you have a blog. A lot of people, they might feel that this is more of a personal approach if they're going to journal, but then there's also the more public approach. How does it help? I mean, what are your feelings?
Well, I found for me, it really took a little bit of an adjustment to write the blog, which is on bewell.com. And I found as I began to write, I became more comfortable comfortable sharing my feelings and thoughts and views with the world, I think it's a very individual decision. You need to decide, do you want to share it, or do you want to just keep it for your eyes only? Even if you put it on the computer, you can put it in a draft and come back and visit it later. So it's not something that you have to make an immediate decision. You can see how you feel sharing your thoughts.
If you do share your thoughts and people respond, that has to help.
I think it does. We know that when women get together, there's something called tend and befriend. And it may come back from our clan days when we were in a cave in our Neanderthal times, where women tended to take care of each other's children. They became good friends, and they provided a support network. When women get together, there's something interesting that happens in the body. Oxytocin levels, which is a hormone produced in the brain, actually goes up, and that provides a sense of calm. And it has a really beneficial impact on the body. So if you notice that you're becoming more happy, more calm, sharing your information, then feel free to do that.
And also, when you're looking at stress and you're cutting down on it, it can lead to infectious diseases as well. So I'm assuming that, people that are in the hospital and people that have long-term illnesses, this should be a really good thing for them.
I think it could be. We know that stress has an impact on the immune system. As I mentioned, cortisol levels, which is a steroid, may go up, and that can change how our body responds to infection. And we see that anything you can do, whether it be meditation, yoga, writing in a journal, it can decrease the cortisol levels in your body, and your immune system may function better.
Well, it's all very inspiring. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts about journaling with us, Sarah Lynn.
Thank you.
And don't forget, you can follow ABC News Now on Facebook and Twitter by searching ABC News Now.